Hey there friends, Nibs again. Still that same dreary Sunday afternoon in upstate New York. Typical fall day. Yesterday was a very nice day. Today's typical fall day. So I already did a video just a little bit ago about my vintage sporting scopes, at least the ones that aren't mounted on guns. This particular video, I told you I was going to do a part 2, and didn't know if I was going to have time today to do it or not, but I did want to give it a go. And this one's going to be a little more challenging. I don't want to wreck anything, but let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scopes out here to show you, and hopefully I can get them in pretty quickly. Most of these are still mounted on the gun, and because they're zeroed and well zeroed on the guns, I didn't want to remove them and run the risk of following up that zero. So hopefully I can do these without crashing all these to the ground. I did do a picture bird's eye view of these, and that'll be my pre and post picture leading into this. But what these are what they call target scopes, or I call them long tubes. I'll show you the one that's off the gun first, just to give you an idea of what they look like by themselves. This box is actually the original box for the Redfield that's mounted on one of my guns over here, but this particular one is not mounted right at the moment. But hope I can get this into the whole frame. So this one is a fecker brand, and just to give a little bit of history, Fecker started his company I think in like 1921 or 23. I can't remember exactly which date, but 21 or 23. And John and unertl actually started working for him back then in making these scopes, and then the two parted ways. I don't know if it was amicable or what, but obviously unertl started making his own iteration of these type of scopes, and later on down the road, Fecker would actually start buying rings and other parts from unertl to work with his scopes. So this particular one and the other one I'm going to show you in a little bit are both very early versions, although they are very clear. These are very nice scopes, but these are very clear. These are very early ones. Only the first couple of years, and I didn't get an exact time frame, but the first couple of years of production, they never marked them with the power that they were actually magnifying at. But I have 2 of these. One of them appears to be about a 12 power, and then the other one is a little bit stronger than my unertl 14X, so I think it's a 16 power. So has a nice, very long bell on it. I can give you a close-up of the adjustments there. Has a recoil spring in case you're putting it on a larger caliber gun. So that's the only one I don't have mounted on the gun right at the moment. Let's see, we'll stick with the Feckers for now, and I'll grab that one first. I'm not going to focus too much on the guns. I'll tell you what the gun is I got it mounted on, but other than that, I didn't screw this one down, and it just about fell on the floor. This one, the case that this gun sits in, the scope doesn't fit in the case with on the gun, so I have to take it off. But so this gun is a Stevens Model 416, U.S. property marked, made in the early 40s. And so this is my other JW Fecker early model. I think this is the 12X. The one that I showed you that was in the box is the 16X, I believe. They're very interchangeable between the two. This one doesn't have a recoil spring on it, so it wouldn't be wise to mount this one on anything but a 22. But on a 22 there's no issue with, so as I do these I'm going to set them off to the side. I did have them up here on the bench, but don't want to run the risk of having them all collapse over and damage a $1,000 or multi-$1,000 scope. So all of these are so these scopes do tend to be very expensive. So this particular one here, this is a absolutely magnificent rifle that I purchased last year. Winchester Model 52D, and that was the first iteration of the 52 that was only single shot capable. All the rest of the previous models before that did come with a single shot adapter, but also could have a 5-shot or 10-shot magazine. So, but this scope here is a Redfield, and this one has the distinction of being the only one in this group that is an internally adjusted scope. So the reticle is adjusted internally on this scope. So, and then it uses, but it still uses a ring that would mount like a typical one of these target scopes. So this is a Redfield Model 3200, and it is a 24x scope, which is very nice for very precision target shooting. This one's capable of very tiny groups, even out to 100 yards on this very nice Model 52. Oh, that one's heavy. I'm glad to get rid of this. Now this next one isn't really it's not as long a tube, but I wanted to include it because it's very unusual scope. But this one here is actually one of the very first scopes ever produced that actually was variable power. And this one was made by the Carolyn Scope company, and I believe it was made back in the 20s or 30s. I do have it mounted on a Ranger Target 22, and this is basically the Sears and Roebuck version of the Stevens Model 416, very similar to the one I showed you with the fecker on it. So this is a Carolyn scope. It is, I think it's adjustable from 3 to 6 power, and you do that by adjusting this little thumb wheel here, and it's pretty fragile, but this one is in very good shape. And so you can focus it by adjusting this little screw here, and sliding, loosen that screw and slide this back and forth, get your focus right, and then you can adjust your power. Like I said, 3 to 6 I believe is what these were made at. Okay, moving right along. So this is actually the very first one of these I ever bought, and it's still sitting on the same rifle that I got it on initially, or for initially. And this is my Remington Model 513T, which this one was made in 1952. And this is a unertl, unertl optics. This one is a 14X. Has the 1.5 inch bell on it with adjustable objective, and this is still probably one of the nicest ones I own. Nicest scope, nicest, and this combination is absolutely fabulous. 50 yards with even cheap target ammo. I can do clover leafs and sometimes single hole groups with this gun. It's just fantastic. So that would be probably one of the last ones that I would ever think about getting rid of. All right, let's see what else we got here. We've got 3 more to go. So this next one, oh, another heavy one. So this one is so the gun is a Winchester Model 52C. This one was made in the early 60s. I believe 61 is when this was made. And from what I can tell, this scope was also made around that same time frame. This gun is US property marked, and I do have all the original sights for it as well, but I have found evidence online that suggests that these were used by the Marines and their initial training for snipers, and so it's very likely that this scope was on this gun right from the get-go when the US military had acquired it from Winchester, or had it mounted by their gunsmiths right after it was acquired. So what I have here is a unertl 12X, and they call this the ultra varmint. And what's different about this one is most of these, if you've noticed, had a very thin, like a 3/4 inch tube. This one has a 1 inch tube, has a 2-inch bell, very good at light gathering, and the only thing that's a drawback with these ultra varmints, and some of them did have it but a lot of them didn't, is these do not have an adjustable objective, so it's a little bit more cumbersome to get your focus. If you're changing from one distance to another, you have to do the focus back here with a screw in the back. So, but it is a fine scope. Once you get it adjusted to 100 yards, it's crystal clear. And the 52s are, reputations precede them, so and it's pretty cool that that one is a US property marked one. So this next one is quite unusual. I don't want to catch that. So for starters, this is my Remington Model 37 target rifle. This one was made in I believe 37 is also when this one was made. It is a first year production. I think 37 is when they started making these. But this particular scope is a bausch and lomb. I hope that I'm saying that right. So I've heard it pronounced different ways, but they call this the Belvar 24, and it is adjustable power, just from 6 up to 24 power. And what's interesting about it is it has these adjustable, the ring, you don't twist the knob here, twist the knob here, it's actually these dials, click, click, click for, that's windage, and then the one on the front is for elevation. So, and it does have an adjustable objective up in the front, very nice. So, alright, so far those are all rim fires. This last one, very last one, is my only center fire that I have one of those type of scopes on. And this is actually one of my most recent purchases. This is a Savage Model 23C in 3220. And I have this nice old Litschert, hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is a 10 power, and it's a Litschert Model A. It's one of their very first models that they came up with, and this one does have an adjustable objective on the end. I think I said already it's a 10 power, and again, this is a very clear scope. I've been shooting it with this 23C for quite a while now, and I'm working on a good load for it, but it holds zero really well, even on the recoil of the 3220, which is not much. I mean, it's more than 22 long rifle, but it's not much more. So, but what else can I say? So this one is one that I actually purchased from one of our members on the Walnut and Steel group. He had picked it up, and it was there was problems with the crosshairs, and one of them was gone when he had it, and the other one was there, but they're very fragile. And I bought it from him. He shipped it to me. By the time it got to me, the other crosshair was gone too, so I took it apart and put some new crosshairs in it. 5/10,000ths of an inch tungsten wire, soldered it in myself, and it's a very good repair, and expect it'll be very durable for a long time to come. So anyway, these guns are not light, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that one down. But hope you enjoyed this video. Very interesting, at least for me, all the differences and variations of different things that came out with over the years. But hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully the next one will be out at the range on a better, not rainy day. But until then, have a great day. We'll see you later.